Hello, it's me, your favorite Payday 2 playing vegetable. It's been another 1,000 subscribers, so I'm sure you know the deal already. I'll just get into the stuff that was suggested. After I complained about the damage range multipliers in the beta video pretty hard, it makes sense that people would want to check in with my thoughts. Yeah, I still don't like it. There's no real reason for them to exist. They don't change the meta. They just make some weapons worse. They don't really make anything better. It definitely doesn't make you want to use one weapon over another. It doesn't do anything except make you do less damage. And really, is that fun for anyone? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't like doing less damage for no reason. Balancing Payday is a pretty big job. I don't really look at it as balancing some things by buffing them or nerfing them. I look at it more as side grades. I believe that everything should have a purpose. For example, if you look in the AR class, really, what reason is there to use anything over the Union? It's the best in just about everything. Maybe if you want more concealment, you can switch to the Tempest, but really that's about it. When it comes to ARs, they're extremely unbalanced, just because the Union exists. I think that balancing would entail giving everything unique traits, be it different effects, or having different tiers of the weapon. For example, in ARs, you have the 40, 60, 100, and 160 damage tiers, but as is, there's a lot of weapons filling up those slots. Maybe more tiers would help to balance it. Though I'm not sure, I haven't really given it too much thought. It is possible to just use a mod and just test these rebalances, but I'm not very good with mods, so I'd rather not do that. My mod list is almost always available in the description of the video, unless I forget. But it isn't exactly 100% up to date because I'm lazy. Really, the mods I would recommend are to first get a HUD. They're just nice to look at in my opinion. The vanilla HUD is kinda boring. Yeah, you get more information, but unless you can make use of it, what good does the information even do you? You'll see some people online saying that just having an info HUD is basically cheating, but those people are kinda wrong. I've seen plenty people with info HUDs that just don't know how to make use of it and die anyway doing stupid plays. Just having an info HUD doesn't necessarily make you a better player, and that's the basis of a cheat. A cheat is a mod that will replace skill. An info HUD in itself doesn't really replace skill, it just gives information that you can use to base your plays off of. Even if you aren't planning to use the information, I think it's nice to have. It just fills the screen up more so it's not completely empty, and also I like looking at the numbers. Aside from that, there's tons of optimization and bug fix mods. I suggest getting those. God knows Overkill left tons of bugs in the game. That was a pretty basic outlook, but I'll leave some more helpful mods in a pinned comment in this video. When it comes to weird or unique weapons in this game, there's quite a lot of them. Again, it goes back to that point of, there's a lot of weapons in this game that sort of have no purpose because of how outclassed they are. However, they are still really fun to play. Some that I would suggest trying out would be the Lion's Roar Rifle, the Repeater Sniper Rifle, the Stakeout Shotgun, and any of the miniguns really. They're all underused weapons that are really fun to play. As for the 500 Sniper Rifles, they do sort of fit their own niche. In fact, they can be run without Gray's Aced. But for that, you'd have to be running a secondary for most enemies, and then just use Gray's Basic on Dozers, which would clear out all the enemies surrounding it. It's a bit awkward to get used to, but everything has a use if you can get creative enough. I'm not really sure if you can call what I have a career per se, but I guess the question stands of when will I stop uploading? As of right now, I'm only really uploading Payday 2 content, and to be honest, that's my plan. However, when Payday 3 comes out, then I'll have plenty more content to upload. Unless I run out of Payday 2 content by then, I do plan to continue uploading. The only exception to that would be if I end up too busy or I just don't have time anymore. If you're looking for general advice to get into Death Sentence, there's a great guide by Kev Killed you can check out for that I'll link in the description. I don't really plan on making individual guides for everything, but I do have a video in the works about a single tip to improve a death sentence that basically no one covers. Well, everyone covers it, but no one covers it correctly or in depth enough. When that video comes out, it'll probably be the single most important video on my channel. Everything else is just sort of, builds and gameplay, whatever, who cares. But if you really want improvement, that is the one video you should be looking out for. Personally, I think Anarchist should never have been added to the game, because it came with Sydney. It's a case of you win some, you lose some, but we just sort of lost more than we won. Personally, I prefer both for maximum hygiene. Let me get one thing clear first. I don't hate Beecroft, and I never did. And unless he, like, murders my family or something, I don't think I'll ever hate him. I don't really hate anyone, to be honest. Though, if I had to admit, I am kinda jealous of that clout. The only reason I went after those build videos is because they were titled Best. When you have something titled Best, and it isn't the best, that's clearly an issue. Otherwise, I would have never cared. As for my build videos, yeah, they're suboptimal, but it's sort of intended that way. My build videos are less to be copied directly, and more to understand how to utilize a perk deck in different ways. Otherwise, why would I bother explaining armor regeneration mechanics on Ex-President, for example? My goal has always been to give people a better understanding of what they're doing and why they're doing it. So if it was never said before, I'll say it now. Don't copy my builds exactly, you're just doing yourself a disservice. If you want to improve at build making, look at what I do for ideas as for how things could be set up. Is running Sociopath with a flak jacket optimal? Dear God, no. It's very stupid, in fact. However, I presented it as an option and how you could go about making a build for it. Could I make boring, uninspired builds that are super optimized and beat Death Sentence really easily with near no player input? Sure, basically anyone can. It would certainly bring me more views. I mean, look at the top video on my channel. It's just overpowered builds that are fairly bland. I find those kinda boring though, so I'll just continue to upload my weird builds. If I do make a video with those overpowered and boring builds, it will be mentioned somewhere in the title. However, I never play those builds. What I upload is mainly builds that I play, and if you ever see me in pubs, you'll see that I play builds varying from wacky to downright stupid. This is just how I enjoy the game, and hell, sometimes I make builds suboptimally for the sake of vanity. I'll lose a bit of crits to take a face punch compensator over a flash hider any day of the week. I'll force builds to 4 concealment because it looks nicer on menus. If you want to change my builds around, go for it. That's like, the whole point.
Bro, I swear, green just vented in front of me. Please, guys, you have to believe me.
I have quite a lot of games that I like to play when I don't feel like doing Payday. Obviously, as mentioned here, Terraria is one of them. I used to play this game so much more, but I sorta got bored of it. I really only play it with friends now. The second highest playtime game on my Steam account is actually Geometry Dash. I really enjoy building levels. I stopped playing the game a long time ago, but you'll notice in a lot of my videos, I use music that is famous in Geometry Dash. That's mainly the reason why. Oh, and before someone asks, I guess, the hardest level I beat was Old Cataclysm, but that was a very long time ago. Another game that I like to play, but I don't play as much anymore, is The Binding of Isaac. It's a really fun roguelike game, but I've sorta gotten a bit tired of it after the Repentance update. $15 well spent. However, my favorite game of all time is Celeste. It's a great platforming game which has lots of challenges, and I also really like the atmosphere of it. The feel of it is amazing, the soundtrack is perfect. If you have the money, I definitely recommend getting it. What a perfect segue. Madeline is a character in Celeste, and seeing as Celeste is my favorite game, my Discord server is filled with Madeline emotes. Let's start from the bottom. At 5th, I'd have to say Pleadaline. While there's nothing overly special about this, the pleading emote is one of my most commonly used, so I tend to get a lot of mileage out of this one. At 4th, I'd have to say Maddie Good Job. Again, there's nothing too special about this one, but it can be used in a sarcastic manner and in a serious one, and that dual capability is really handy when you're trying to mock someone, or actually congratulate them, or confuse them as to which you want to use. At 3rd, I'd have to say Unimpressed Align. The versatility of this emote is insane. You can react to basically anything with it. It's a great emote overall. In 2nd place, I'm gonna have to put Weird Align. I mean, look at it. It's so perfectly stupid. It describes my server in itself, as well as being a perfect reaction to just about anything anyone says. And when we're talking about the community of Payday 2, you're going to be using this emote a lot. In first, it has to be Gun-A-Line. This is one of the oldest emotes on my server, even before I started flooding it with more Madeline emotes. This is one of the longest lasting and most used emotes that I have, and when you think about it, it's really just an upgrade of Unimpressed-A-Line, which is on this list as is. Of course the upgraded, more threatening version would also place. Why would anyone care about team composition in this game? It's a single-player game, right? You only focus on yourself. Oh. Well then, fuck, I don't know. Well, alright, if you really want it, I'll do the tier list. Now, for this tier list, I'm going to be using the players that I mostly have experience with, as in, I've played a lot of games with them. You'll also notice that the only tiers here are S+, S, and A tier, and that's because none of these players are below A tier, they're all incredibly good. Even having one of them on your team is basically almost a guaranteed victory. Let's start with Uncle Geldgale. He's a great player and has a lot of hours, but he is a little bit of a one-trick pony, you could say. He's an Anarchist main and just about only plays Anarchist, but he plays Anarchist extremely well. He has one of the highest endurances I've seen out of any player. I mean, take a look at some of his runs. Many are over an hour long. The amount of clutches he pulls on his streams is ridiculous. He is an easy S tier player. If only he played some more variety, I would put him in S+. Next up is the Russian aimbot himself, Mr. Creepy, which is another incredible player. Creepy plays a lot more variety than Uncle, but he doesn't play it as perfectly as Uncle plays Anarchist. That's not to say he's a bad player. I've seen him survive full assaults by himself, and look at his solos as well. They're filled with additional challenges, like no converts, 4-player spawns, full speed swarm, and even all of those combined at times. Let's just say that there is a reason why his comments often call him the Russian aimbot. His mechanical skill is some of the highest I've seen out of any player, another easy S tier. Next up is Semper Invicta, or just Semper. If you ever find yourself on a team with him, good luck actually failing. There's a reason he's in S+. He can wipe maps basically by himself, as well as doing every single objective at once. He can probably AFK and still outkill you. He can play any perk deck or weapon, and still carry the team easily. The one downside I would say he has, if any, is his patience. When you're that obnoxiously good at the game and something stupid kills you that you have no control over, it makes sense why he would be angry. Next up is Kev Killed, a pretty well-known streamer. Kev is an incredibly good player, and despite him saying his aim is bad, it's incredibly good. Add to that his knowledge of the game and general game sense, and you have a machine of a player. However, similar to Creepy, he does play a lot of variety, but not quite perfectly. I would say one of Kev's few downfalls is how much effort he puts into his team. There are times when your team is so useless that they need to just be abandoned and you need to focus on the game by yourself. Kev tends to never give up on his team, which does sometimes lead to failure. If he were to play more for himself than for others, he would probably be an S+. Yokai is up next, and he's an S+ tier player. Out of anyone on this list, he probably has the highest mechanical skill. I mean seriously, who pulls 95% plus accuracy with sniper rifles consistently? He'll carry in kills, do every objective, as well as playing variety along the way. And to be honest, I don't even know if he has any flaws as a player. El Huevo is up next, or Martino for the simpler. He's a fairly small channel, but I've known him for a while. He's a great player to have on your team. However, I would not put him in the S tier. He plays a lot of builds really well, but to say that having him on your team guarantees no failure is not quite accurate. Still, he's a great guy and a great player. Now, you're probably wondering where I fit in. In the original tier list video, I put myself in the top tier as more of a joke. In reality, I'm nowhere near those players. My mechanical skill is undoubtedly the lowest out of anyone here. I mean, me hitting bullseye is basically RNG. The only reason I stay afloat on death sentence is due to my game sense. I abuse a lot of clever positioning, but I'm not a perfect player. I'm better than the average pub and by a wide margin too, but that's not to say that I carry every lobby I join. My pitiful mechanical skill very often throws games for me. I mean really, that's why I created Amond. Well, there's the finished tier list of YouTuber skill levels. I hope no one takes this too personally, and I hope you're all still friends with me. Really, it's up to you. Without Inspire Ace, Painkillers is basically useless, but that's not to say it's useful with Inspire Ace as well. Painkillers will save a lot of players from stupid Inspires, but it's better to just not Inspire stupidly in the first place. At least that's what I think. As for Quick Fix, I basically always take it, since Painkillers is useless to me. The only times I'll ever take Painkillers over Quick Fix is when I'm using a build with Berserker. The Quick Fix buff can be kind of annoying, but really it's like comparing a negative to a neutral. Painkillers doesn't do anything for me, but Quick Fix can occasionally hurt me when I'm using Berserker. Like I said, it's really more up to you. How about an anti-cheat? Yeah, really, that's all I'm looking forward to. I don't care what they do for the game, just as long as there's no cheaters. Everyone knows Payday 2 is rampant with them. Well, that's it for this subscriber special. Thanks to everyone who sent in their ideas. I'm gonna let this teamwork gameplay finish, but I'll see you all in the next one.